politics in the United States of America. The left has gotten really left, and the right has gotten really right. Everyone's towing the line, and we're getting nowhere. Fast. This is the Rational American. The Rational American. Common sense has gone out the window, and our passion is to open eyes in hopes that people will take a rational look at what America is actually becoming. Put your feelings aside and let's get real. This is the Rational American, and this is your host, Steve Oatley.
Well, hello, and welcome to the show. I want to say one thing to everyone right now. It's very important. Go Huskies. Go Huskies. 20-0, a shutout for my boy's first actual football game that he got exactly 0 playing time in, but we knew that was going to happen. He's a 7th grader, but they shut him out, man. They shut him out. And what's with not having medical at the side of a football game, even if it is a bunch of Utes? How come they didn't have medical there? I'm very confused because one kid did get a little hurt. Granted, I'm a trained medical professional. I was standing pretty darn close, and I was like, the kid's fine. There's no blood. He was holding his side, and then all of a sudden, like, someone would say something. He'd sit up, and then he'd be like, oh. Like my other little boy, he's playing football with everyone else. He got punched in the face by some little kid, screams out, Dad. I walk up to him and I'm like, stop crying. You're embarrassing me. Anyway, welcome to the show. This is the Rational American. I'm your host for the day, for the evening, whatever. And today, many of you guys may not like this because I have complaints about the Democrats, obviously, don't I always? But I've also got some complaints about Republicans, too, on 2 different fronts. One, this whole abortion issue, and we'll talk about that. But also, today, we live streamed this Twitter hearing, right? And you may or may not remember that, right? We live streamed this hearing today, and everyone is talking about conservatives as well, saying, no, we need the government to step in. I think it was Lindsey Graham, actually, which was like, I hope, it's Graham, Lindsey. He talks in third person because he's a moron, but he's like, oh, Graham and Warren are working together on this. This thing where we're going to tell big tech what they can and can't do. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. Obviously, I got to start off with inflation. The new CPI numbers came out today, and whoa, it was a doozy. Although the White House wants to pretend that all is normal in America. And maybe, in all fairness to those morons that are sitting in that White House right now, actually, they won't be back until 9. Because all of a sudden, Jill and Joe Biden all had to jump on the White House jet and go over to Wilmington, Delaware. But don't worry, even though Jesse Waters said they're gone for the remainder of the week, that is patently false. They're actually, according to their itinerary, on their way. They're probably on a plane right now on their way back. They're supposed to arrive back at the White House at 9 p.m. tonight. No one knows why they had to do this clandestine thing, but whatever. It could have been that Biden forgot his brain there when he was on vacation for like the 170th day since he took his term, but who actually knows? New inflation numbers came out today. It rose. They were anticipating it was going to be 8.1% again, flat. And, just like Joe Biden says, a 0% increase for the month of July, which was false anyway, because you don't have 0% inflation. What you have already, if it didn't go up for that month and it stayed at the same level, that means, you're still at 8.1% where we were a year over year, which is higher than it was a year ago, 8.1%. Now it went up to 8.3. And this is what people have to realize. Inflation went up again. The consumer price index went up, except for fuel. Fuel went down. Why? Because Joe Biden has opened up the strategic reserve, giving away all of our fuel, and which nobody really understands that we're going to have to buy all that back, right? It's called a reserve. It means that you got to put that money back in eventually. You got to put that fuel back in. So we're going to end up buying all the gallons of fuel that he's given away to everybody. Or barrels of fuel, whatever the hell it is. We are going to have to purchase that to replenish our strategic reserve. That's why when he's, putting out 1 million barrels a day, or, like 2 days ago where he did $8.8 billion or 8.8 million barrels, People don't really understand that we have to buy that back, but this government is big on spending your taxpayer dollars, so you shouldn't be too surprised by that. Also, guys, if you're watching on YouTube, do me a solid. On my main YouTube page, we went live twice, and I don't think notifications went out for this one. You know where they also didn't go? Our live streaming platform, because I forgot to send it. So I'm going to send that now. But share this out, watch, like, subscribe, hit the bell, do whatever you do on YouTube, because that allows more people to see it. We have a zero tolerance in the chat. If you act like a moron, you're going to be booted. And yes, you could be a Democrat, but just don't say anything too stupid or death or racist or anything like that during this conversation, which is going to be hard because I know a bunch of you, you know, live. Hold on. So live now. I forgot again. I'm sending this out to everyone that has our app, Citizen Stringer TV, whether you're a member or not, because you get a push notification to your phone. See, I just got it like that. It's that easy. It really is. It's quite impressive. Anyway, so the thing is, someone said, can we talk about your bald spot? What bald spot? I haven't shaved my head. That's why I'm wearing a hat, because I don't like it when my hair is long. Normally I have a shaved head, and I can't. I got a receding hairline, no bald spots on this old guy, but nice try there. So yeah, inflation is up through the roof. The Dow obviously responded to that by losing 120 points, which means the average person that's, their average retirement right now lost about $14,000. Yep, that's true. Those are real numbers. You can all look it up if you'd like. The average retirement right now lost $14,000 in value because of this massive plunge in the stock market. And it doesn't appear that that's going to be done. Dow, it's weird because the Dow, futures, I guess aftermarket, whatever, was only showing a loss of 1. However, NASDAQ was showing a loss of 658 points, which is crazy. It's like 3.58% to be precise of the value. So we're going to have to see, is the Dow going to rebound tomorrow, or are we like just, think you take my money. Luckily, I pulled everything out of the stock market, but my wife's pension is the stock market. And last year, her first year teaching here with this pension, she lost everything. Essentially, you know what I mean? She did her max contribution. The school matched, or the union, or whatever it is, they matched that, and she ended up, losing it. She lost more than, she ended up with less than what she put in. Go figure that out for the first year. Isn't it crazy? But that's just what it is. Someone said, if you have your money in banks and stocks, you deserve whatever you get. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that rationale, but whatever, who cares, right? So it's kind of crazy because the White House today during their press conference decided to essentially sound more like a moron than they have before. Because for one, she opened up her binder, Karine Jean-Pierre, she opened up her binder when asked about inflation and kind of said, well, inflation's at a low number. Uh-oh, it looks like this froze. Oh, wait, it's back. Looked like it froze for a second there, and I was like this, but whatever. So they asked about inflation. She opened up her binder and said that, well, inflation hasn't gone up, which is completely false because we all know it goes up. And I think really what's going on now is they're just lying. They're just straight up lying to the American public, and they believe that it's okay. Something's going on here because I just believe I lost this. Watch, did I? Let's see. Yep, I did. And I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know what happened, but I did just lose it, which is odd because it's still showing there. So whatever, maybe it'll come back. Otherwise, it just means that you're not going to be able to watch the videos that I had queued up. But you could still listen to the audio, and you're not going to really miss that much. A reporter asked Karine Jean-Pierre today her take on, well, something crazy, right? Because you may know that the White House today held a big, gallant thing in front of the White House talking about the Inflation Reduction Act, which is weird, right? They would hold some big celebration for the Inflation Reduction Act as inflation continues to rise, as food still continues to rise, as housing continues to rise, as rents continue to rise, as wages don't even rise to compensate enough for it. I saw one financial news article that's like, yay, wages went up. Not really. Not in comparison when food goes up 8 points. You know what I mean? And here's the crazy thing, and no one's really talking about this either. If he didn't release all that fuel to keep the gas prices lower, right? To keep gas prices low. And I know they're not low all over the place. They're not low on California and stuff, but that's California. You guys don't count. You're like not really a state. You know, I know all you naysayers, California is a state, but it shouldn't be. It should be its own little country of morons. But if the price didn't go down, like if he wasn't releasing all these strategic oil reserves and all that stuff, if he wasn't releasing this and the gas price was still high, and if it went up, because that was down 10 points from last month, if that was stayed the same, we'd be looking at like 13 or 14% inflation. And you think losing 1,200 points with the Dow in one day was bad? Can you imagine if we were at 13 or 14% inflation? Why do you think it is that he put out this big thing the other day, or of 8.8 million barrels of oil, keeping the price down? But again, everybody that just thinks that that's, the answer to this is stupid. It's stupid, because simply we have to replace all of the oil that we're putting out, and we're going to replace it at a cost that's higher, because you're still going to pay market for it. So you're going to end up replacing it at a cost that was higher than when we acquired that fuel, right? And I don't know how the whole reserves, the national reserves and all that, but you know what it's for? It's not for what we're using it for. It's for like a time of war or a big crisis or something. And I don't believe right now we have an energy crisis, as much as everyone wants to say, unless, again, you live in California, right? California, that foreign country over there, where if you have an electric vehicle, and you're going to have to get one, and by 2035, when they're going to ban combustible engines, but you can't charge it. That's the crazy thing. You can't charge your new electric vehicle. Well, because simply they don't have the resources to handle on the power grid. Colorado is another one, right? Everybody talked about it. We did as well. All mainstream media talked about it too. The fact that Colorado had to, or this one power company in Colorado actually sent out, they give a $25 a year discount, right? For you to have this thermostat that they can control remotely. Yeah. So as it got super hot and the energy grid got challenged, and didn't have enough resources to do everything, the power company went into your thermostat and turned it all up to 84 degrees. And even though you were sweating your butt off, right? Didn't matter, because you signed this little piece of paper that gave them the right to control your thermostat. That is where we're going. That is what's going to happen. And I believe, didn't that happen with California, or with Texas a while ago? Wasn't one jurisdiction in Texas doing something similar? Maybe it was the heat crisis or the ice storm or something, but I swear that happened in Texas as well, where they were trying to set their heat at a certain degree and it wasn't allowing them to do it. But it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, I keep my offices. I'm a big guy, so I sweat. So I keep my office at 71 degrees. My house is at 71 degrees as well. And in the winter, I keep it right around 65, 67. Why? Because God made sweatshirts. And that's what I tell my wife all the time, in big, thick blankets, right? And I could just walk around and do the show in the nude and keep it at like 80 degrees here. But I figure I won't do that for you guys, because that would just be, too much. Anyway, back to inflation. So today, the White House held this big ceremony, and where they just bragged about this inflation reduction plan, which is not going to actually reduce inflation at all. It's going to cost us more, and not necessarily us, mind you. It's going to be our kids, our children, their children, their children's children, and you see the pattern there. And that's what's going to happen. But Joe Biden got up and he yelled at times, and he whispered at times, and he stuttered at times, and everybody, all the right-wing conservatives on social media are like, oh my God, he said he was been in office for 722 times. He's delusional. 720-year term as senator. He's delusional. He said that joke like 50 times before. But everybody is going to just jump on this bandwagon of Biden is bullshit crazy, which we all know he is. And we all know he's probably not fit for office. And we all know that he's stupid and dumb. But here's the thing. We have much bigger issues. You know what I would like is all these YouTubers and all these Twitter accounts with thousands, tens of thousands, millions of followers to actually just like, hey, report about mass shootings once in a while, right? Report about how this Jen Psaki, whatever, is following a pattern of dumbasses. Karine Jean-Pierre just lied to the American public today. Or better yet, talk about how the GOP stabbed the Constitution in the back. We'll talk about that later on today. Well, just talk about anything, real. But instead, Joe Biden's been in office for 720 years. Joe Biden has a stutter. He's losing his mental faculties. He doesn't have any mental faculties, but he's also got a stutter, and he's had one his entire time. He's also 70 freaking million years old. So if you've ever had a conversation with an old person, they pretty much talk like Joe Biden. I know everyone says, well, he's on top of his game. He keeps us all at wit's end. No, he's a moron. But I hate how these conservative, people on social media all the time, on Twitter specifically, because I spend entirely too much time on Twitter, are always like, oh my gosh, Joe Biden, look at this mumble, OMG, OMG. There's one account with millions of followers that's like, OMG, when Biden stutters. Everybody knows Biden stutters. You're not breaking the news. And I hate that too. There's another account on Twitter that's always like, breaking news 2 days ago. It's not breaking news because everyone else already reported it 2 days ago. Is it just breaking news because you just found out about it because you're too busy with your head up Mitch McConnell's ass? I have no idea. Anyway, I digress. Back to where I was before. So they had this big extravagant thing on the White House lawn, right? And some of the reporters during the White House press conference today asked some questions. And they're like, hey, don't you think it's a little fucked up, right? For you to hold a big celebration talking about the Inflation Reduction Act when the new inflation numbers came out and they're even fucking higher. When all the everyday working people, the middle class that you say you're trying to protect, it would be awesome if we actually had someone that talked like that in the White House press conference. We don't. So I don't even know why I did that accent, but I'm going to continue. Okay. But wouldn't it be great if instead of doing an Inflation Reduction Act party dance off in the fucking White House lawn, that they actually got to work and tried to figure out why the fuck they're destroying this country? No, they don't care about this country. And the response to a reporter asked, isn't there any concern about a dissonance between the current economic moment and the kind of celebration you'll have about the Inflation Reduction Act? Right? So that was a reporter today at the White House. I think this is working. So let's see if this is working. That's the best way, right? Oh, look, there she is.
Well, an administration certainly has the opportunity to celebrate achievements like legislation. Is there any concern that there's a dissonance between the current economic moment and the kind of celebration you'll have this afternoon on the South Lawn about the Inflation Reduction Act, when today's figures show that inflation is still a great concern, when we've talked about the Amtrak situation and so forth? Is there a disconnect there?
So I think if we look at the picture more broadly about what this means, because we have to remember the Inflation Reduction Act is historic. If you think about how...
Isn't that the stupidest? See, I got to stop this dumb ass right there, because she's like, we have to look more broadly. Don't look how your retirement, so you're losing all your money. Don't look how you have to pay more for that gallon of gas or that gallon of milk or that bread or the eggs or any of the other necessities at survival, right? Don't pay attention to the fact that we are destroying you and making you all have to do what we want because, well, we said we're going to pass it and we did. That's essentially what she's saying. Don't pay attention to what's happening now. Only pay attention to what we are telling you to pay attention to. Isn't it nuts? Isn't it nuts? And all these Democrats that are out here like, Joe Biden, oh, look at it, let me coddle your balls. All these people that are out there acting like Joe Biden is a Lord and Savior, although I don't know. Does anyone actually believe that? Are there any actual people that think Joe Biden is actually doing a good job as president right now? We know his approval numbers are bad, although there's one poll today that says he's polling up. Okay. But we know the majority of Americans do not view the job he's doing as a president as a good job. But have you actually ever in your real life met someone that voted for Joe Biden because they have the confidence that he would be a good leader? Or did they vote for Joe Biden because, well, they hated Donald Trump? Because I will be honest with you, I've never met anybody that voted for Joe Biden purely because they thought he would do a great job at leading this country. I've met several people that voted for him because they just didn't like Donald Trump. And no, they couldn't name any policies or anything. Nope, they just didn't like him. They didn't like his hair, orange man bad, or whatever they want to say. But this White House administration, every single day, they go up into the public and they repeatedly lie. They lie. This is what she's doing. She is lying to you. She's lying to everybody. And what I always say is politicians have to remember, and this goes for these White House morons as well, that they don't represent just Democrats. They represent Republicans too. You are the president of the United States. You are the press secretary for the president of the United States. It's not the president of the Democrat states. It's not the presidents of the Democrat, partisan politic, It's not supposed to be, but that's what politics is now. It's this divisive bullshit. And then you have the inner sabotage with Lindsey Graham today. Again, we'll talk about it. Fuck Lindsey Graham. But it's all stupid. It's all stupid. And they're lying. And so many people will just blindly follow and be like, well, Trump's bad. So what do we do? I didn't like him when he used Twitter. So I voted for Joe Biden. And now I lost all my retirement. My home value is crazy. The mortgage rate's nuts. I'm not going to make it. I have no sympathy for anyone that voted for this fucking moron. And I'll be honest with you, and excuse my language, and if you have kids watching, probably not a good day to. But I have no idea why people think that this guy is something. And you could argue that he's better than the alternative, but not really. Not when you actually look at the facts. Look at the economy in Trump's first 2 years versus Joe Biden's first 2 years. Look at the crime rate in Trump's first 2 years versus this 2 years. Look at foreign policy versus, these 2 years. Look at anything, virtually anything across the board. And you're going to be like, whoa, Steve. And that's the truth. Everyone's like, oh, Joe Biden added 7 million jobs. We lost 9 million with COVID. He didn't add a fucking job. In fact, we're still at a $2 million job deficit. But those are facts that nobody likes to hear. We have the moron that came in last night. Remember that? There was more mass shootings in Trump in 2019. Bullshit. We disproved that live. We fact-checked that fucker and then booted him for lying in our chat and spreading false news. Oh, I meant mass murders. That's not what it is. But so many people do that. You spit out a fact and it's like, oh my gosh, it's true, even though it's not. Nobody actually wants to dig down and get dirty anymore. Anyway, let's go back to this stupid ass video where I guarantee you're not going to learn anything, but we have an obligation to listen. If I could press play.
How electeds like the president and Democrats on Congress, other Democrats for decades, have been trying to fight Big Pharma, have taken that to head for the last few decades to make sure that Medicare, that our seniors are able to not pay thousands of dollars a month. And that is a huge historic win for the American people. It's not about us celebrating. It's about the win for the American.
Oh, it's not about celebrating, she says. It's about the win. It's not a win when everyone's losing their livelihoods.
And that's what you have seen. When you see costs that are going to come down for our seniors, when you see costs that are going to come down for American families, as I just listed out for energy costs, are going to come down.
You know what's kind of crazy when you think about it is they lie. You can say, oh, the price you're going to pay for your insulin goes down. It doesn't matter if the price you pay for your bread and your milk and your eggs and your life, your clothing, the supply chain, costs go up. So does virtually every single thing. This pen, which used to be 99 cents, is probably now $5.99 because that's the way it's got to be. That's the new America. So yeah, you may save 50% on what you're paying for your prescriptions, but it doesn't matter. You know why? Because you're going to pay more for the car that's going to get you there. You're going to pay more for the gas. You're going to pay more for the tires. You're going to pay more for your shoes, your socks, your underwear. You're going to pay more for the toilet paper that you need to wipe your butt after you eat all that food that you have to pay more for anyway. So you're not actually saving anything. They just get to call this a win. And then, but they're not celebrating a win, although we all must recognize that they made this great win. These people are inherently evil. Inherently is probably not the right word for that, but I don't care. They are just pure evil. That's all they are. That's all they are. Joe Biden wants to get up and say, we beat pharma. No, they didn't beat anybody. Fauci just got up and said, boosters for life. Yay. How do you beat pharma when you're certainly guaranteeing that pharma, the same companies that you apparently beat, are going to get billions and billions of dollars a year guaranteed from the federal government because you are mandating this booster? Speaking of boosters and mandates and all that shit, you see, and this is unconfirmed because mainstream media hasn't talked about it at all. One person that I don't really like, Leroy's Press, from New York. He's got me blocked because I called him a commie one time on Twitter or something like that, which he is, and he blocked me. But Leroy's Press apparently received a photo of an email that was sent out to all NYPD officers and civilian employees yesterday saying that if you're unvaccinated, you're not allowed to work anymore, not to come into work. I didn't hear about this anywhere else. I don't know whether this is actually true or not, but then there was other reporting by, again, independents saying that people that were unvaccinated, civilian employees and police officers in New York City were sent home from precincts today because they were not vaccinated. I have no idea, but that's something, April, if you want to dig into that, that would be something that I'd be curious to see if there is any truth to that. But whatever. It's so crazy, and everybody just, it's like have you ever heard like the expression like shit in one hand and blah, blah, and see what fills up first, right? It just seems like this kind of like Joe Biden every day, he's like, hold my denture water. And he's just destroying our country even more every single day. Every single day he comes out with a new way to be like, fuck you, working class. Like, and I'll be honest, and nobody else really sees it apparently. And the people that do, everyone else that watches is like, oh, how many times do we get emails? I'm back to getting death threats. So that means I'm doing something right here. I received a death threat today. It was a really veiled death threat, right? But we still forwarded it to the authorities because, well, they said I was a fake conservative without any other specificity. But I've just lost my train of thought too. Oh my gosh. People are so stupid just in general across America. Everybody is just dumb. Not everybody, but a lot of people. You know what I mean? Because I could sit here reporting the news and telling people what's really happening in the country. And it doesn't matter because it just goes away, right? You guys all know, the people that watch this show every single day, you guys know what's going on. You talk about it with everybody else. Everybody talks about it. But then where does it go? Unless you're telling 10 people and those 10 people are telling other people. And maybe this is how the Biden administration is winning this propaganda war, because apparently they are. The mainstream media still coddling Joe's cojones, right? Coddling him like this, old saggy balls and all that. That's what's going on, apparently. CNN, however, is taking kind of a hard look, and they kind of criticized him today for this Inflation Reduction Party thing that he had on the south lawn of the White House, because, well, they're like, holy shit, like, imagine that. You're showing this thing, inflation, giant win on your ticker on the bottom, and then you also got a little thing on the screen that shows that the Dow is down 1,200 points. Like, do you know what I mean? Isn't it crazy? Nobody cares. Nobody pays attention. And I understand why Joe Biden is continuing this MAGA Republican, MAGA this, MAGA that, MAGA this, that ideology, because they have to. Because if they didn't have that to go on, what do they go on? What do they go on? What else can you do? What else could you say? It's crazy, right? But here's the craziest thing, right? So we still have this border crisis that's going on at the border. Another thing that Joe Biden wants to pretend that's not happening. Karine Jean-Pierre 2 weeks ago said people are not just crossing into the border, all that stuff. Today, this dumbass literally got up and said we are doing a lot more than Trump did at the border. This is real. This is how disconnected this group of politicians is in the White House. Watch this clip. It's going to disgust you.
Administration, which largely just tried to build a wall, an ineffective wall along the border, and couldn't even finish that in 4 years. We're certainly doing a lot more to secure the border, and could be doing even more if Republicans would stop their obstruction. That's it. I'm going to just take one last.
It is crazy. And I think it is important to remember, or to tell all of you guys, that she is a racist. When again today, they left the people from South Africa, right? Or the African people from whatever, Africa Today or whatever. They left them yelling questions in the back because they refuse to call on those two reporters, a woman and a man. I don't know why they do that, but they always just refuse to answer those questions because apparently they don't get any insight into what's going on here in America. Not like what happens here in America dictates what happens across the world, or it used to. Maybe it doesn't matter that much anymore, but it used to, right? If Americans had a bad day, everybody had a bad day. Why? Because we're the most powerful country in the world. We are not anymore. Make no mistake about it. We are not feared. We are not anything in terms of the worldview on what we are. But she literally goes up there and lie, and that's the easiest thing to fact check ever, right? She said Title 42 didn't work, and then all these people crossing the border, she blames on Title 42. And the fact that Donald Trump had everyone just waiting across the border for asylum claims, and all that paperwork was taking forever, blah, blah, blah. Title 42 didn't work. People aren't crossing the border. That's what she says. That's this White House's position, and nobody really holds them to account. When she said that thing, everybody in that White House press corps should have just lost their shit and said, enough, you crazy bear. Beer. I said beer, by the way. You crazy beer, right? It's like a deer and a butthole all in one. I put it together really quick. Beer, right? Beer. I know you guys have no idea where I'm going now. Whatever, I'm having fun with this show today. But isn't it nuts? Because she can just go up there and lie. And she's also got immunity. No one could hold her to account. Every time she talks about the Republicans' policies, and mind you, I'm going to have to segue real quick, or not real quick, but I'm going to have to segue over to the Lindsey Graham shit today. But first, I got to tell you something. On our website today, puretruthcoffee.com, the clearance section, which we now have, we got so much more than yesterday, okay? Because and I'm going to even have more tomorrow. If you go over to puretruthcoffee.com, and this is just a little, infomercial, because obviously we need your support all the time. But if you go over to our clearance section, watch, I'll show you, because we're hardcore like that. And you don't want to leave this broadcast. Anyway, we have 16 products on here. All of these shirts we have on here, and look at that. I found this incredible model, right? And that's why, it's me. Yeah, it is. But then I couldn't fit into this because that's an extra large. But we have, and look at that, $25 for a hoodie? My goodness. But that's just this hoodie. And I think we only have mediums in that size. And then we've got 2 of these things. This is essentially the leftover stuff, like the old PT News throwbacks. We've got smalls in those and some mediums. These ones, the I Am Proud. Who remembers this? These are some old shirts. These are classics right here. This one is a 3X. I got a bunch of those. I'm a Proud American. Go over and order all this stuff, because if you order these t-shirts, and you'll look when you open it up, it'll say, small is the only one, black is the only one. And then if you try to add 3 of them, it'll change it once it's in your cart to, actually there is 3 of these. I did that wrong. So watch, no more stock. So it'll allow you to buy just whatever's in stock. It's pretty cool how that works, right? Who would have thunk it? But we've also got, as you can see, the hats. I only got 2 more of these. They're the small ones. Never been worn because I have a big head, so they don't fit there. But you can see all of this. I got some more lions and sheep, some small ones. The Come and Take It shirts, a couple of small, and I think an extra large in white that we have. So go over to that store. If you order any of these items, they ship tomorrow. And I'll tell you what I'll do for anyone that orders it today, right? Anyone that orders it today, I'll throw in a 2-ounce sampler of our Freedom Blend. And you're entered into our big giveaway and all that stuff anyway. So go over there, just order all the shirts. Because if I sell all the shirts, then I'm doing okay and I'm above board. If I don't sell all the shirts, I may have to give away a TV or something again so people start buying more stuff in the store, because we have a daily average we need to meet, and we're not meeting it right now. We do some days, but then we don't, 3 or 4 days after that, which means it makes it harder for me to just keep the lights on, to be perfectly frank with you. You'll notice, unlike some of the other ones, we are viewer supported, but we don't want you to send super chats or cash apps, although you can if you want. We want you to buy something, get something for what you're paying for. You know what I mean? We do it a little bit different here. Anyway, so you guys want to talk about Lindsey Graham, this shithead? Lindsey Graham today pissed me off more than anything else, I think, in a long time. Because I'm sitting there and, we had this big win, right? With Roe versus Wade. Anyone that believes that a baby that's growing inside a woman's body is, in fact, a living being and doesn't deserve to be executed, right? And so obviously, clearly, my position on abortion. Well, apparently Lindsey Graham decided to celebrate just 3 months ago, celebrated the Supreme Court's decision, which effectively overturned Roe versus Wade and made it so the states now get to dictate, which is the 10th Amendment. Does anyone not know that? It's the 10th Amendment of the Constitution. Any rights that's not given by a federal government, the state reserves that right. State can make up their own laws. That has to do with that. That's the whole reason why the Supreme Court essentially overturn Roe versus Wade is because they believe that wasn't a federal government that should have made that determination on whether to legalize abortion across the country. No, they believe that that's a state choice. Well, Lindsey Graham today, in his all-righty fucking idiocy, gets up there and says, oh, we are going to be introducing legislation for a 15-week ban. And mind you, I agree with it, okay? But only on the idea that no one should get an abortion ever, right? Unless you're going to die, the baby's going to die, or it's rape or incest. Those are my personal views on abortion as a whole. But certainly nobody after 15 weeks should be getting it, regardless of anything, because, well, that's a baby, right? It's a baby. I mean, it doesn't take rocket science, but apparently people believe it is. But the fact is that Lindsey Graham 3 months ago was championing the fact that the Supreme Court put the power back into the states, into your hands, because we have a lot more control over what happens at a state level than we do as a federal level, obviously. Right? And then today he introduces a bill to federalize a nationwide ban on abortion from 15 weeks or further, which is exactly what the Democrats said the Republicans were going to do. And all the Republicans were like, we're not going to do that. We don't believe the government should overreach and have that much control, the federal government. No, we want to leave it up to the individual states to control their own people. But then Lindsey Graham today, 58 days from midterms, 55 days from midterms, hands Democrats the fucking silver platter. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. I really honestly believe that Lindsey Graham is working to hurt Americans, everyday Americans. He's working to hurt us with this kind of stuff. There is no rationale behind this at all. Because if you are a conservative, right, if you believe in the Constitution, if you believe that a state has a right to set its own laws and regulations, if you believed Roe versus Wade should have been overturned on the principle that the federal government should not have made that ruling, that decision should have been left up to the states, how the fuck can you then go back and introduce a bill which does exactly the opposite of what you're championing? Does that make sense? And that's exactly what Lindsey Graham did. And I tweeted it out, and I'm like, these guys are evil. They don't want America to win. They don't. And someone made a good point, because a nationwide ban, right? So a nationwide ban at 15 weeks, even again, I agree with the principle of the whole thing. I just don't believe the federal government should be the one instituting those laws. The state should. The people should. Because the federal government, they're not a representative of me. My Republican congressman, Ben Cline, he's not a representative of me. He won't even come on my fucking show. So clearly he's not a representation of me or my values. He sent $40 billion to Ukraine. Well, we have veterans sleeping outside of military bases here in the United States. These people do not represent our actual interests. And here's the thing, even if we put America first, people in there, how many people have you heard stand up to Lindsey Graham's stupid ass statement today? How many people have you heard? You know who did? Mumbling Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell even said, whoa, most of my colleagues over here believe that determination should stop with the state. The state should. So even mumbling Mitch McConnell has a half a brain cell left to challenge Lindsey Graham and say, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what are you doing? How much was he paid by Democrat operatives? That's what I sincerely want to know. How much was he paid to do this? Because it certainly doesn't, this is like all of, like John Fetterman, right? John Fetterman, whatever the hell, however he talks, I don't even know, with the big old, is that a tumor out of the back of his neck? Seriously, I don't want to make fun of a hunchback or whatever, but he does have like a tumor sticking outside. That's why he always wears a hoodie. He has one picture that shows him without it, and it shows like, it looks like there's a little face, like if you drew on it and drew a mouth or something, it'd probably be moving, because whatever that is that's on the back of his neck, like a big fucking boil, is like moving and talking and shit. It's probably like Hillary Clinton. Like, yeah, she's like playing puppet with him. Steel across the street, steel mill, Oz, Jersey, mansions, 10 houses. I have one across the street from steel mill. John Fetterman. Like that's what he talks about all the time in his Carhartt hoodie, right? He makes it so nobody I know wants to wear. I'm going to now judge anybody that buys Carhartt. Actually, I already did because they did some woke shit too, I believe. Didn't they? I think they did. I'll be honest. I've never owned a Carhartt thing because they're just too fucking expensive. And you can go to Walmart and get a Dickies version of Carhartt that's just as good. But do you know what I mean? I fucking forgot what I was talking about. What was I saying? What was I saying? And I know a lot of you guys probably aren't here right now because you're incredible listeners and you probably are all going over to Pure Truth Coffee right now and just buying everything, right? You're buying mega box after mega. You're just literally like, Steve, your show is incredible tonight and I want you to do a show like this every single night. So here's my money. And if you're not doing that, my show tomorrow is going to suck butthole. Like seriously, it's going to be shit because I'm going to have to spend all day fucking working, right? Instead of planning a great show. Anyway, so yeah, Lindsey Graham, he stabbed the Constitution in the back. Any constitutional conservative, any rational American, anybody who just firmly believes that a state should control its own destiny, therefore the voters, right? Because a state, oh God, it's so stupid. It's so stupid, and nobody cares. Lindsey Graham gets up there and talks about it, and then what's with the lady in the background? Like, fuck, I didn't want to show you the video because it annoys me. But let's watch his announcement today, right? I don't have water, so I can't even take a drink. But watch his announcement. Okay, this is his announcement speech of this thing.
We will be doing about the unborn. We will introduce legislation, I, along with a lot of my colleagues, to basically get America in a position at the federal level I think is fairly consistent with the rest of the world. Can we? We have charts. Shows you how serious we are.
That lady doesn't stop smiling like the whole
15
time.
weeks. A baby's at the 15-week period. What does that mean? Well, it means if you're going to operate on the baby, which happens, to save the child's life, to provide medical treatment, the standard practice in medicine is to provide anesthesia. Now, why would you do that? You provide anesthesia because the science tells us at the 15-week period, the nerve endings of the baby are pretty well developed and the child feels pain. So here's our point, that if you have to provide anesthesia to keep the baby from feeling pain to help save its life, should we as a nation be aborting babies that can feel excruciating pain from an abortion? Here's what I think.
I don't want to listen to this shit.
I think we should have a law at the federal level.
I don't want to listen to this. So, long story, he goes on to this and then says we're introducing a 50-year or a 15-week ban, which, again, just so everyone understands, I agree. This shirt is brand new, so it's tight on the collar, and I didn't shave, so it's like making my neck itch, which is why I keep pulling it down like that. I apologize. Super unprofessional, but whatever. I don't like Lindsey Graham. And many of you guys know I'm not a big fan of his. I haven't been for quite a while. But he showed that he doesn't give a shit about our Constitution. He doesn't give a shit about your values, my values, everyday Americans' values. No, because he applauds the Supreme Court for when they reverse Roe versus Wade, because on the premise that the federal government does not have the power to regulate that. Yet the law, they're trying to change the laws or add a new law or whatever it is to do a nationwide ban on it. That determination should be up to the states. Does anyone disagree with me on that regard? And you believe that we need a federal law prohibiting abortions from 15 weeks? Or do you believe that the state should be the one to dictate that? Maybe I'm just out there. I don't know. Maybe I'm just, lost here. But for the life of me, I was just like, he literally just like gave this. Because the Republicans have been talking about, or Democrats have been talking about this forever. They're going to go ban, abortions. They're going to do a nationwide ban. Now they all get to say yes. See, we told you. All the Republicans that were like, no, we're not going to do that. Now they all have to be like, oh shit, our Senate majority leader just said, yes, we are going to do that. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? And that's why so many people, everybody should be pissed about this. Everybody. It doesn't matter whether you're left or right. It doesn't matter if you believe in the Constitution. You should be upset with this. But I don't know. That is what it is. Speaking of being upset, I'm upset with you all right now. Right now, we have 629 of you, plus all the people on Citizen Stringer. You know why I'm upset? Because you're watching me and you're not on puretruthcoffee.com buying up everything on the store. All of our mega boxes. We got a couple of the mega mugs that, oh, by the way, everyone that ordered a mega mug, they're going to go out by the end of this week. I'm waiting for the rest of the mugs to come so I can print them, put the QR codes on them and all that stuff. I'll try to ship them out by Friday, or Thursday. If they don't get out by Thursday, then they'll be out on Monday. And I know a lot of you guys have sent me emails right away because you're used to like ordering on Amazon. This isn't Amazon. I actually make all of the products I sell. Yeah. It's pretty amazing, right? That's why I'm in here at 6 o'clock in the morning and I'm still here. Oh shit. What time is it? 8:36, 8:46. I'm here all day, every day. That's why, for you. So you could have amazing products, but you should all be on puretruthcoffee.com buying up all of our clearance stuff. Again, the clearance shit, it ships faster than anything else you've ever heard. Like, seriously, it's amazing because I have it all here. It's already folded, ready. All I have to do is pick it up, literally throw it in the envelope, slap the label on it, boom, it's done on your door in a couple of days. It's amazing. Anyway, I do have breaking news right now. There's apparently something going on in Boston, Massachusetts at Northeastern University. Apparently, police found a suspicious package outside of the school or on the school's campus at 39 Leon Street. That suspicious package blew up. And they have apparently another one as well. Someone is dropping bombs around a college currently in Boston. So we don't know, but it's being reported that Boston police said a package detonated at 39 Leon Street at the school's campus. The Boston Bomb Squad, Boston Police, Boston Fire, and Boston EMS have all responded to the building, and it has been evacuated at this time. This is breaking right now, so we don't have any other information about that. I did see something that people said there's another package that is there that didn't designate. I saw that a couple of times on Twitter. Even Steve Luckner, the head grifter in chief, he's now chiming in. Boston police are now investigating a call for another suspicious device at the rear of the Museum of Fine Arts near Northeastern University, where a package exploded tonight, according to scanner traffic. He didn't listen to a scanner. He didn't. Steve Luckner is a good dude. I'm just talking shit. Don't block me, Steve, because that's what you do with everybody else. You got a good name. I bet you spell it, though, with a V instead of a PH, like a real man, right? Anyway, so let's talk about this Twitter thing. Let's talk about Twitter. How many of you guys watched this whistleblower talk about Twitter today, right? He laid out some damning shit, like Twitter has like spies working for him and all this stuff, known spies, like agents of China and Iran and India and all this stuff working on the payroll of Twitter. That was something that, well, obviously that's happening. But what I was more taken aback by was the line of questioning from Republicans and Democrats. Oh, whatever, Evil Peaches. Thank you for subscribing. And if you send a super chat, it does that as well, just so you know. Right across the screen, big letters. I can't even miss it. And I think if you do a big super chat, it like reads your message. I'm getting fancy, going old school here. Yeah. Anyway, so during that hearing today, it was absolutely insane, right? Because I'm sitting there listening, I'm like, fuck Twitter, fuck you, Twitter. Like, I'm deleting that shit. Oh, you got my email, you got my address, you got my phone number, you got my geolocation, you know where I live, what I watch, what I read, whatever, all that stuff, which, of course, everybody already knows. Everybody already knows that exists. Everybody already knows that if you use a mobile device, you're being tracked 24/7. That's just the way it is. And all those Patriot Mobile and all those other companies that say, oh, you're completely hidden. Your identity's hidden. No, because they're still using the same towers as everybody else. You can get apps that, VPN type apps that'll hide your location. All that. They still can find you. They know where you are. They know when you're sleeping and they know when you're awake. They know when you've been bad or good, for goodness sake. Anyway, whatever the saying is. So, anyway, during this hearing today, I heard this guy was going on about all the Twitter vulnerabilities and all that. Everybody was asking all these important questions, and the hearing was very insightful. If you missed it, you should listen to it, because apparently this guy is like a well-known hacker, very, very well-to-do fella. And he decided to come out and be public about it, right? That's not what I heard, though. What I was taken aback by is the amount of people, the bipartisan effort to censor a business, right? To govern a business. And I want people to understand something that's absolutely crazy. And I may blow your mind and you may say this is a reach or you may disagree 100%, but I don't fucking care right now. How many of you people, how many of you people out there, viewers, watching this right now, and if you're watching this on a replay on YouTube, type your answer in the comments right now. Like, not right now, but like if you're watching it later as a replay. How many people out there thought it was wrong for a business to require masks, or an employer to require vaccines, or an employer that follows a federal mandate to require vaccines? How many of you guys thought it was wrong? I already know the answer, the majority of you. But yet you think it's okay for the government to tell a business how and when they can operate? Because that's exactly what GOP politicians and Democrats, they were uniform today in saying that the government needs more fingers inside a private business. I'm never going to agree with that. As much as I don't like the fact that Twitter is corrupt or this or that, I'm never going to agree with the fact that the government needs to step in and start regulating these companies. The government needs to, one of the things that Lindsey Graham, again, apparently he's partnered up with Warren and they're going to make a new cookbook called How to Fucking Backstab Fake Powwow Bakery Cooking Bullshit, whatever their book is going to be called. But they're working on this deal now. Someone said on the subscriber notice that flashes up on YouTube is spelled wrong. I don't even know what you're talking about. In the chat, on the Nightbot, is that what you're talking about? I don't know what it means. But listen, see, here's the thing. So today during this hearing, everybody wants to talk about how all of the Republicans are like, no, we need more oversight. And you may remember they did this back in 2021. They did this back. There was this uniform group where Republicans and Democrats were both saying that we needed more oversight into Facebook. They needed to do more to censor dissenting views. They needed to do more. The government is trying to overstep into these social media companies. And what's next? My company? Could the government right now call me and say, Steve, you need to stop talking about what you're talking about now? What would that make me if I started following suit? So why is everybody out there saying, and here's the thing, and this is why, and I'm guilty of it too. I got suspended from Twitter the other day, and as soon as I got back on, I ripped Twitter a new ass. I bitched about it for days online. Twitter has a right to suspend me. They're a business. It's like if someone walks into my store, I have the right to kick them out for whatever reason. I could be like, you're not wearing any shoes, you dirty hippie. Get the fuck out of my store. You smell like shit. Like I'm opening a gym. If you don't wear deodorant, well, someday I'll open the gym. But if you don't wear deodorant, I'm going to give you a swift kick in the ass and kick you out of the gym. Why? Because I don't want to smell your BO. That's a privilege of being that. Imagine if there's this law that's put into place or this federal oversight that says I'm no longer allowed to do that. If your view... And we get it a lot in the chat where people are like, oh, you're not pro-free speech. And maybe I'm not, I guess, in that regard. Because I don't believe that we need to... Because how can you say you're pro-free speech when you're limiting what a country can or what a company can do? If you say a company needs to follow a certain set of guidelines and if they can't do it, then, and if you don't permit them to do it, you fine them millions of dollars and all that stuff, are you really pro-free speech? Are you pro-independent choice? No, because what you're doing is you're telling this other company that they must follow your instructions. You know what that is? Isn't that fascism? Isn't that what it is? I believe it is. I believe it's called fascism. I don't know if people actually thought about it like that. I certainly didn't until today. I remember talking about it when Facebook was there. And they're like, you need to do more on your moderation. And Democrats and Republicans were universal in it. Because Republicans were talking about how they were getting death threats, and Democrats were talking about how Republicans are the ones putting out death threats and white extremists and all that stuff. But they were both uniform in their condemnation of Facebook and Google and all that, saying they're not doing enough to keep misinformation off of the sites. Why is the government stepping in and even dictating what misinformation is or not? Does it make sense? Someone said Section 230 protections make it different than other businesses, which is why I've always long maintained that Section 230 protections should be removed from these companies because they're businesses. They're businesses. So as much as it sucks to get kicked off Twitter or banned on YouTube or, hidden or whatever, shadow banned on Facebook, it sucks. But that's ultimately a business decision. There's no difference from that and me telling people that I don't want to do a certain thing, or I don't want you to wear a certain thing in my store. Or I don't, you know what I mean? Or that would be like someone coming into the store or coming into my office and saying, Steve, you have guns all over the place. I'm uncomfortable. Can you put the guns away? I'd say, no, leave the fucking store. Do you know what I mean? That's like them saying, no, Steve, you got to put the guns away because I have the right to be here and you don't have the right to do what you want with your company anymore. It's weird when you think about it like that. It's weird when you think about it like that, because then it puts a whole new fresh perspective on just how batshit crazy we are as a country. Because you have conservatives and Republicans, and let's be honest, is Lindsey Graham a conservative? After today, I would hazard a guess and say no. Maybe that's he's definitely a Republican because he doesn't care about Americans. But my belief is it is conservatism, right? By not having big government, by not giving government all the powers to dictate and lock you down and do all that stuff. To me, that is what conservatism is. You conserve that power. I don't even know if that's what it stands for, but that's what it should stand for, because that's what it is to me. If the government is always overstepping and dictating what you can and can't do in the life, that literally sounds like the Democrat positions right now, doesn't it? But now it just seems that this is what the Republican Party is doing. For the life of me, and I said it again, for the life of me, I can't understand how Lindsey Graham thought this would be a good positioning today to talk about the abortion ban or even to go after Twitter. Although I understand the Twitter aspect because there's so many people that agree with him. So many people that call themselves conservatives, but because they believe the federal government should overstep in a business's personal employment decisions. And no, I'm not saying they should be allowed to, employ spies or anything like that. I think it should be treated just like any other company. If you have spies that work for your company and they're violating the law, then they go to jail and you get held accountable for that. You know what I mean? Remove Section 230 protections from these companies. Maybe that's why the government can do it. Maybe the government does feel like they are allowed to overstep that boundary and no longer consider that business, a private entity, because they do have those Section 230 protections. Someone said, aren't they doing the same with the oil companies? Yeah, we heard about it when all the gas prices went up. Everyone called the oil companies in there, and the Democrats were like, you made a profit this year of $14 billion while Americans are paying $5 at the gas pump. And all the liberal minds were like, oh my God, they made $14 million. This is incredible. $14 billion. They all took stipends and money and all this stuff, not understanding that when COVID hit, they lost double that. But those are the facts. And the Republicans tried to bring that up in those hearings. You may remember Republicans were like, how much you lose in 2020? And they're like, well, collectively about $28 billion. Oh, so you paid out $14 billion in bonuses and what the hell is the word? It begins with an S. I forgot what it is. Like dividends. It begins with a D, not an S, whatever. It's next to it on the keyboard. But they paid out, $14 billion in dividends to their shareholders who took a loss in 2020 during COVID, right? But that everybody's like, oh my God, you can't take a profit now. As if the cost to do business isn't ever increasing. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. And yes, there are some things that a public company like Twitter and Facebook and all these other public companies, they have to follow a set of guidelines in terms of disclosures and stuff. But the government still doesn't step in and tell people how to run their business. They have to do accurate reporting, and they're held accountable to their shareholders who own the company. If the government was to own these companies, then maybe the government could have some oversight into these companies. No, I'm not advocating for any sort of government-run social media. Why? We're not China. But where do we get off as Americans telling another company how, or person for that matter, how or what they're allowed to do or can't do? Does that make sense? It doesn't make sense, to be honest. Blank Page said, got a bootlicker in here, gross. I don't know what you're saying. And I don't know why people, that's not even a conducive comment, Blank Page. I think you're on Twitter. Don't do that kind of stuff in my chat. Who cares? And I don't even know what reference you're talking about, bootlicker or whatever, because bootlicker, I believe that means like police, right? Someone who supports police. And if you're calling someone who supports police a bootlicker, then you don't deserve to be in my chat because I support police. Call me a bootlicker. Meet me in public. All right. I'm about ready. I'm going to be at that Save America rally this weekend. Come say hi. I fucking dare you. I'll fucking, just like with Joe Biden. I'll just whisper into a microphone. Oh, man. Someone said not for you, Steve. Yeah, I don't want the bootlicker stuff in my chat at all. I don't want anybody doing any sort of stuff. Like, let's have a good chat. All right. Someone said New Jersey, I believe they monitor Facebook Marketplace to see who's buying diesel trucks. Yeah, they do. They do because they want all that tax. They also go through, what is that thing? Oh, I forgot what it's called, but they used to get people on it all the time where if you operate a certain, like for commercial vehicles, oh man, I forgot what it was, but they got a lot of truckers with it. Where if you operated a commercial motor vehicle in the state of New Jersey, even though you didn't live in New Jersey and you didn't, as long as you were in there 10 days of the year, you needed to pay tax, like a business tax, to operate in there. And what they did is they ended up catching a whole pile of truckers all the time. They would track them when they go through the weigh stations and all that. So they knew they were operating in that state. And so on the 10th time or the 10th day or whatever, they ended up pulling those trucks in and giving them major bills and commandeering those trucks. What was that called? That is something that is, I don't remember what it is. What is that called? Does anyone know? Any of the trucker people know? I want to say it begins with an E. Don't remember. But it's crazy stuff, man. Someone said boot liquor. Yeah, it's not liquor like, alcohol. That's funny though. You funny, man. I don't care who you are right there. It's not entrapment. I don't know what it is. Someone said go buy coffee at Pure Truth Coffee. Yeah. It's not entrapment. It's a different word. But yeah, it is a use tax, but there's a specific name for it, right? And a lot of states have it, where if you have a business, and a lot of states have done it too, Michigan, some other states have done it, where if you excise tax, right there, excise tax. And what they do is they go and they catch people. It was big news in 2021, right? Because I think there was a news article where they stopped 50 plus trucks one day. And basically said your trucks are, impounded unless you pay this excise tax because we could prove you operated in this state this amount of time. And, our tax code says that if you did, even though you're driving by and you weren't making deliveries that was a caveat, is you needed to be making deliveries in that state. So a lot of trucking companies are like, fine, fuck it, we won't deliver to Jersey. And then they switched it and said, well, even if if you stop and fuel in Jersey, you stop to grab the restroom or do anything, then you have to pay that excess tax. And a lot of states do it. And it goes, it's like, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. Excise tax. There you go. Who was the first one that said that? I don't remember, but Dan, Jack, and whoever the first one is, I don't remember who it was, but Kimba said you have to pay it in Massachusetts as well. Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But yeah, the whole thing, like this whole day's worth of news is pretty crazy when you think about it. From the first story we talked about to the last, everything is just crazy what's going on in America. Someone said, are you streaming multiple platforms? Hell yeah, I am, bro. Hell yeah. I'm not a partner on Twitch, if that's what you're trying to get. And to be honest, we don't have a lot of viewers on Twitch anyway. I think you have to be a partner. Someone said, where else? None of your business. None of your business. Asking all those questions. Right here, this fella. Watch. This guy. Where else are you streaming, Steve? Let me take some notes. Let me get you in trouble. I'm also streaming on my own live streaming platform, which you can get on the iTunes store and all that good stuff. Because tonight, coming up at 9:30, guess what we're watching? Everybody. Tonight at 9:30 on Citizen Stringer TV, we are watching the riots. 7 hours of riot footage from September 13th, 2020. Why? Well, because everybody should be seeing it. Everybody should watch it. Everybody, all of you guys should go there and watch it because they're pretending it didn't happen. And of course, you should become a member and use code RIOT. You save 50% off your annual subscriptions. I'm going to start doing a lot more fun videos. And I know what you're saying. You're like, Steve, you've been talking about this for a long time. I am super overextended myself, which is why I work incessantly, 15 hours a day, it seems. I go home, I go to sleep, and I get up. I only have one cup of coffee. Half the time, it's not even a full cup in the morning before I have to pour it in a thermos and head to the office. No joke. No joke. But you know what? I'm still strong as hell. Family is good. I'm working my butt off. I'm going to make this into the best damn coffee company. Because for anyone that doesn't understand, Pure Truth Coffee directly supports our news, directly supports these shows. So every time you buy a shirt or a bag of coffee or a mega box or anything like that, you're directly saying, thank you, Steve, for doing this. And even if you hate me and you hate what I do every day, if you buy a bag of coffee or a mega box or a t-shirt, you can write in the comments, I hate you, Steve, and I'll still thank you. Because you can actually write in the comments on it, right? It's amazing. Did I mention I want you guys to go over and buy literally every single shirt that I have available for sale in the clearance section? Ships within 24 hours. It's amazing. You guys want to be brave for a few minutes? You want to be brave? I'm feeling brave. Nope, that's not it. I'm feeling brave. Call in line 845-241-9921. Call in right now. Have your voice heard. National. Call in right now. Press 1 when you're all caught up on the audio, but we've been live the entire time there. I just didn't really want to do a call-in show, but I knew I would have opened it up. Someone said, put a link for the shirts, please. That's on Facebook. But the link where you can do it, I can't put the links on here because this isn't set up for me to do it on this. That's why I don't like eCam. But if you just go to puretruthcoffee.com, puretruthcoffee.com. How do you guys like the show that I did this morning, the revamped Wake Up America? I know I forgot to put the intro video in it, and I am going to make a transition in between the news stories. But I put out the new Wake Up America show, which I'm going to do every single day, where I'm just going to run through the day's headlines very fast. Right? Just no real opinion, although I kind of went astray this morning, but no real opinion, just straight up news, the news that you deserve and that you're not getting from mainstream media. But I'm going to do that every single day, so make sure you do it. And if you want to call in right now, 845-241-9921, 845-241-9921. We only have about 20 minutes left of this show. And, if you want to have your voice heard right now, talk about anything except the 1776 bullshit, because frankly, I don't care about that group of people. Imbeciles. It's not the word I was going to say, but I changed it again. You know what I mean? Someone said international, more than national. Yeah, you're right, because we are international. We have viewers from the UK, Australia, Germany, the Philippines. We have viewers from the Philippines. We have one person, I don't know who it is, that watches from the Philippines every day. Every day. Someone said, I like the F it, I'm done. This is essentially the F it, I'm done show, The Rational American. It's just like one big rant, right? I ranted right now. It's been an hour and 10 minutes. I ranted. I was ranting, right? Got to call in and say, long-time listener, first-time caller. Yeah, if anyone wants to call in, because otherwise I really don't have a plan for the last 20 minutes. And I'm not going to make it like a big infomercial, because that's what I've been doing at the end of the show, is I'm either like bitching with people in the chat or doing this. I don't want to do that anymore. So maybe if I have a little bit of time, I'll do this. Mike asked a good question, Michael Comstock. Said, Steve, you said you don't like open carry. Why is that? All right. Well, Mike, the reason I don't like open carry is because It's like me wearing a shirt that says I could beat the shit out of you. You know what I mean? I don't need to wear a shirt. And maybe you'd use it as a warning, as a deterrent for other people, right? If you saw a big guy, most people see me and they're like, that guy could probably beat the shit out of me because I'm a big guy anyway. You know what I mean? But it's like having it to me, it's just stupid because why are you going to telegraph it? Because here's my rationale for it. And I'll be honest, because I think if you open carry a firearm, then you are literally asking to be the first target. And you know what I mean? That's my perspective. Whereas if you're concealed carrying a weapon, nobody knows. I don't know. Then maybe just for that reason. And I think it's stupid. And most of the people that I've seen open carrying are not like normal looking people either. They're oddballs. And you guys know what I want. The ones that go into Walmart and then get on their bicycle to ride home with a case of Natty Ice. Those are the people those are the main people that I see that are open carrying. However, at the Freedom Fest, there was a ton of people open carrying, and I didn't have the same feeling then. I was fine. And matter of fact, I was more than fine. You know why? Because I was not concealed carrying, because I thought I was going through Pennsylvania and I didn't want to have to lock up the gun and all different, capabilities and cases and have the magazines locked in a safe somewhere else. You know what I mean? Because my concealed carry permit's good for a lot of states, but not Pennsylvania. Unless Pennsylvania's changed, but I doubt it. Anyway, look at this. We have our first caller of the day, 614. Let's see if this works. 614. Are you live? Are you there?
Hey, Steve.
Hey.
Hey, Steve. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, this is Steve. We met out in Iowa.
What's up, Steve?
Over at the Trump rally out there. Had the camera. Not too much hate, and it's spelled the right way, too.
Yeah. And I remember your last name begins with an H, correct?
That's it. Yep.
Yeah, I know you. What's up, homie?
Yeah, especially talking about the not much. I really wanted to go down to Kentucky, but I had some back issues, so I didn't make it. I'm going to try to make it up to Youngstown, though.
Yeah, that's your neck of the woods anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, because I'm from Central Ohio, so that'll just be a short jog up there.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I'll be out there. I mean, I'm not going to be going in, but I'm going to be out there trying to catch some camera. And I've said I may not bring coffee, but I think I can actually throw all this stuff right in the trunk of my car. I get my car back tomorrow after 3 weeks after hitting a little baby deer. So I'm pretty excited about that. But I think I may be able to put the coffee maker, some gallons of water and all that right in the trunk of the car and just give away some coffee. So maybe I'll find a side of the street and just start giving away coffee. Who knows?
At least a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, well, talking about the concealed carry, I was thinking maybe you should do like a little gun segment every now and then. You do like some gun reviews or go over what you like, things like that.
I'm not a gun expert, so I don't even really know, like if that makes sense.
No, but that's the whole part of it. Not an expert, but actually, I mean, you could actually work on the chat as well and have people, throw in their 2 cents and actually just kind of learn at the same time. You're talking about the things that you like, don't like.
Yeah. Yeah. I just want, like, for example, I have my concealed carry piece here. That's what I run with when I don't want to carry the 40 cal. I carry this little 9, and that's what I run with. But other than that, I don't even know. Like, I think this one, I think I still have, I have range ammunition in that one from the last time I even fired that gun, which was a long time ago. I still have range ammunition in that one, So I'm not as full gun. I like to have a gun that I can have with me to protect myself, And so I don't think it's a bad idea. I just don't have enough knowledge about guns to even really hold a course, a conversation about it. To be honest, it's a good idea. Maybe if I find another person that wants to host their own show.
If it's something that you think about, give me a call. You got my number.
Yeah.
I'm the one who texted you about Martha's birthday last night.
But
you give me a call. We could talk about it sometime because my wife's getting a little frustrated with how many guns I'm buying.
Oh, really? Well, maybe you should do your own little podcast on the show.
Yeah, we could maybe try to put something together, see what you think of it.
Yeah, we can do that. And I know, just like someone said in the chat, VX Bullet, she knows a ton about guns, and I think she's a firearm instructor and competitive shooter and all that stuff too. And I know she would come on and do it, but all right, man. Well, hopefully I'll see you on Saturday in Youngstown.
Start taking the classes. Yeah, hopefully.
All right, man. I'll talk to you then.
Cool. Have a good one.
See ya.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. If you want to call in, the number is on the screen, 845-241-9921. 845-241-9921. You got approximately 14 minutes left to call in, say your piece, and say goodbye. What else? In the chat, let's say Liquidator said the delay is a pain. Yeah. And unfortunately, I don't know how. I could do it if I just got like another phone, right? And instead of this phone, granted, many of you guys have this number already, but I don't answer the phone anymore. I only answer my wife's phone call or from a local area code for my kid's school. That's it. I literally do not answer this phone because too many people got a hold of it. So now it just rings nonstop 24/7. But I thought about doing it that way because I know that's how some of the other people do. We use a software that runs the whole call system, and that's why so many people can wait on hold. You don't get like hold music. You just press 1 and automatically you're listening to the radio show live. It's pretty amazing. So someone said, so you're saying we could spoof our number to a local area code? No, because I'll know, and yeah, there's that. 502, you're live on the air. 502.
Hey, what's up? 2 tons of ugly.
Yeah.
How you doing tonight, sir?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I see you in chat all the time, man. It's Tommy. Yeah, you always say you want to talk to a liberal, and to some degree, I'm a liberal. But I, like where you are in the rational American, I just, I have to give props to you.
Yeah. Hold on. I want to put headphones on so I can actually hear this because I was listening through the speakers. So you're a liberal. Where are you from?
To some degree. I was actually raised just probably 50, 60 miles northeast of you, Manassas, Virginia.
Oh, okay.
I moved down here to Louisville, Kentucky in 2016.
Gotcha. So you live in Louisville.
So I've been out here for a while, man.
You were there throughout all the chaos in Louisville, right?
Yeah, I was in there the 3rd and 4th night. Like I went down, I worked right next to it on the waterfront, and that was like right in town center. So I got to like I was at work was dead, like nothing was going on, COVID was going on and all that nonsense.
Right.
And so like I was clocking out and, suited and booted and, yelling at police, and then it was a weird environment, but yeah, no, I was there.
You said it was a good environment to yell at police?
No, not good. It was weird, man.
Oh.
Like the whole situation, like they marched around the town for a while, and then like when, like the night 2, when the police were ready,
yeah,
you could see everyone just shout, "They're over there! They're over there! They're over there!" And I was like, "Yeah, no shit, they're over there. That's not how you fight somebody. If they're over there, you move to where you want them to. What the fuck are you guys doing?" Yeah. And then it just, turned into a whole bunch of knuckleheads, just getting beat on. So I've got a kid. I was like, I'm out.
Yeah. So were you like you were one of the BLM protesters there or no?
I mean, I wasn't like actually tied to BLM. I'm just a citizen that, sometimes police fuck up.
Right.
100%. So when they do, you need to call them out.
Well, do you think the police in Louisville fucked up? Now that you know everything that transpired, do you believe they fucked up? And outside of the warrant, right? Because now we've learned that the warrant was forged, that officer turned herself in. But knowing the information that we knew at that point, that the police officers went in, Breonna Taylor's boyfriend shot one of the officers in the leg and the other officers fired back. You knew that at that time when you were going out there and protesting the police, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And
no, I mean, that was pretty wildly. And I mean, you spoke on it. Everyone spoke on it. Like, hey, you shot him. And That's his fucking house. And, you know, if the warrant was fake, then castle doctrine exists.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't think the warrant was fake. I don't know what happened with the warrant. I know that was only a couple of weeks ago that they charged that female officer with it, with the forging, and she resigned or something like that. She was charged with something to do with the warrant. I'm not quite sure. But at the time, what I'm trying to ask is, at the time, you knew that the boyfriend fired back at police, or fired initially at police. He didn't fire back. He was the first one that shot one of the cops, shot him in the leg. And
he woke up 2:00 in the morning, and he popped one off at the cop who thought somebody was breaking into his house.
So, but
give or take, the people are yelling cop, 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 cop. Like, I understand that. People are knocking on the door, pop, 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 cops open up. Like, I understand that.
Okay.
I get that.
So if you get that, why were you out protesting?
He's waking up. What do you mean?
If you understand that when
just because somebody is shouting cop at the door at 2:00, you know what I mean? Just because at 2:00 in the morning somebody's banging on the door shouting cop, 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 and then kicking your door in, I don't know if 2:00 in the morning is a good idea to be doing that, because you're liable to get shot, just from a police perspective and a normal citizen perspective.
Well, it's a warrant.
If you're asleep, 2:00 in the morning, they're banging cop, 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 cop. I don't care who it is. I'm grabbing my gun.
No, if they announce themselves as police, no, I'm not grabbing a gun. Fuck no, I don't want to die. That's common sense.
But that's your house, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
That's your house.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. My guns are always close anyway.
That's your house. That's your wife. That's your kid.
If people are yelling police, they better be cops when they come in that door. But I'm not going to have a gun. I'm not going to have a gun in my hand, and I'm certainly not. And it doesn't even matter if someone was banging on my door and not identifying themselves as police. I'm still not going to fire through the door at them. I'm still not. That's just gun control. So what I'm trying to ask is, so you believe that the cops are wrong before anything, just based on your early impression of what happened.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and I'll admit that. Yeah, I have some prejudice.
And listen, there's nothing wrong with that, because and here's the thing, and I know a lot of my viewers just went, what? There's nothing wrong with that, because we all live in different environments, right? So I'm someone that gives cops the benefit of the doubt, right?
Yeah.
So and I don't think it's wrong for people to question law enforcement. Hell, I've done it on this show. When police do something wrong, I'm the first one to hold them to account and believe they should be charged even harder than a civilian with that. But with that said, I believe there's also a conducive way or a correct way of protesting. And everyone, you always hear, don't tell me how to protest, or you can't tell me how to protest, and all that stuff. But you were a protester out in Louisville, essentially, is what you're saying. You were protesting with them until it got crazy and you left.
Yeah, to some degree.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't a heavy hitter, man. I'm a 30-year-old father. You know, I was in the back lines. I was watching these young kids do whatever they do. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I was there. I guess I was 28 at the time.
So
I was there. I was ready if something bad in front of me happened. I'm okay, maybe. But like, what happened that day was weird.
Well,
and,
let me
and
put
the rest of the Louisville protest was kind of respectful.
Yeah, the other protests were just crazy. They became homeless encampments like everything else. But,
everything else after that, like, I don't know, 50-50.
But here's my question for you, because you were out there with people that were protesting, acting crazy, chastising police officers, yelling at them, and saying the same awful things that we watched in all of 2020, right? That was, and you've already said that you were kind of in the back, whatever. Now imagine if the general population of America lumped you with everybody else and said you are you are a rioter, you are, an anti-police bully, and whatever the case is. Like, can you imagine that? You
can't tell me how to protest.
Right.
You can't tell me how to protest.
Right, but so you would say it would be wrong for other people to label you as the same group of people that were out there rioting and destroying the town and fighting with the police and all that stuff, right? Because you weren't doing it.
You wouldn't be able to label me a hero, a savior, any of that nonsense. None of that nonsense. And then look at these guys who had some concern. Maybe they went about it the bad. I mean, you're going to hear the almost the same rhetoric. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, maybe they went about it the wrong way. Maybe they shouldn't have broken the window. Da 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 da. But it's the same fucking rhetoric. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
on both sides, it was the same. They shouldn't have done that. But at the end of the day, people were mad. You can't tell them how to protest.
Well, no,
Like they were mad. They weren't together.
Right.
That was a mob mentality situation.
Well,
When
this
it
is
comes to mob mentalities, man, I mean that's
right.
sometimes how the cookie crumbles.
Right. This is what I'm trying to say, though. Like, you would say it would be wrong for someone to lump you together with the people that were committing crimes that day. Yes or no?
Oh, was I?
You would, no, just listen to the question. You would say it would be wrong. You just figured out where I'm going with this, right? Yeah, it would be wrong for you to do that.
Yeah, no, I just put it in. Yeah.
Right. So it would also,
100%.
right. So it would also be wrong. Wait, well, hold on, because
you
we're
in the
running out
back
of
with a
time.
bottle of water.
Yeah,
Nah.
hold on, because we're running out of time. But so you would also say by that account that it would be wrong for you to be labeled as the riot, as conducting riotous behavior. So you would also say it would be wrong for those riotous.
I'll put it to you like this.
Wait,
right?
hold on.
Right.
I'm not done. Hold on. So you're also saying that it would be wrong.
No, yeah. I'm listening.
You would also say it would be wrong for people to label all police as bad police in that case, while they're all yelling at all those riot cops and yelling at them and doxing their families and throwing water bottles at them and all that stuff, because those cops were not involved with Breonna Taylor. I'll go a step further. You would also say that all of the people that were at January 6th on January 6th, 2021 were not crazy extremist MAGA supporters, correct? Or, in riotous behavior. They're not all insurrectionists. You would say that right now, right? As a liberal or as someone that has liberal leanings, based on.
I believe I understood that correct. Yeah, no, not all police are bad people. Not everyone there was doing dumb shit.
Well, at least.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Right. At least we just got through to one liberal. So my job is done. Hey, thank you for calling in and be safe down there.
Oh, man, I've been watching. No, dude, I've been watching you for a year and a half, 2 years. You ain't get through to me. Like, I understand what you're doing, man. All right. It's the first time I'm calling. First time caller, long time listener.
Yeah.
No, I've been watching you forever, man. You got a smart head on your shoulders.
All right, man. Hey, well, thank you. And seriously, be safe down there. I got to wrap this show up because we switch off to the riots on Citizen Stringer here in a minute. But hey, thank you for calling in.
No, yeah, man. God bless.
See ya.
Yeah, no worries, man. Peace. Take care. Yep.
I had to try to do that so long. Real quick, the 517, you only got like 1 second. 517, you're live right now. 517, you're live.
Hey, Steve, this is Mike. How are you?
Good. We only got like 1 minute, 30 seconds. What's up?
Okay, that's fine. You know what? I would really enjoy to have a debate about this open carry issue that you and I probably disagree on a little bit, but I would love to have a discussion. Next time you have a call-in or whatever, I would love to be invited.
All right. Well, maybe Friday. Maybe that's what I'll do on Friday. We'll do I'm going to be, actually, you know what?
Okay.
I can do this remotely, the phone calls. So maybe we'll do it Friday or Saturday when I'm driving home from Youngstown or something like that. Cause I could do this remote without video. So we'll figure it out, and maybe that would be a good call-in show. So, but I got to run, bud. Thank you for calling in. I know you're on hold, but thank you.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right. We'll talk
Love you,
soon.
brother.
Yep. All right. But yeah, well, that was fun. Those weren't bad call-ins. I'm not a big fan of call-ins. You guys know that. The majority of you that watch this show regularly know I don't like the call-ins. Anyway, on citizenstringer.tv in approximately 1 minute, it's going to switch over to the riots from exactly 2 years ago today. So make sure you tune in to that. It's also on demand on Citizen Stringer. If you're a member, it's on demand. Out that whole clearance section. If there's still shit there tomorrow, I'm going to make a whole 20-minute segment about why you guys need to buy all that. All right. Well, I'll see you tomorrow morning for a brand new episode of Wake Up America. Here are your headlines. I'll put it up around 10 a.m. All right. Till then, see you later. Bye.